Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from the healthyamerican.org. I'm live streaming. It's actually Saturday. It is August 19th, 2023. I'm taking a short break from my coverage of the Maui fires because apparently there is a hurricane that is hurrying up to make landfall in California, which has never happened. I am a lifelong Californian and we have been through some major storms, but there has never been a hurricane that has made landfall. And the reason why is because the ocean water just isn't warm enough for that energy to be sustained. However, I would not put anything past the weather manipulators and the public serpents and the bad guys, the evildoers, the puppet masters, the WEFers, and the New World Disorder to try to tell us that this is a new type of weather event. Just like Josh Green New Deal, right? Burn Back Better, that guy. He said, he coined the phrase that what happened in Maui was a fire hurricane. Right? That doesn't even make sense. That's like saying we are having a dry rain. It's raining, but there is no moisture in the air. There are no raindrops falling, but it is raining and you better believe it. They also threw out these names over the last few years, the atmospheric rivers and heat domes. They're making up all these sorts of names for clouds that don't really exist. It's absolutely stunning. I'm going to try to share with you an image that came up from a Healthy American that sent it to me. I'll see if I can grab that from my email here. And it's really weird, the clouds that she had an image of in Southern California. Oh my gosh, I've just got so many emails open here, friends. If I can't do that, I might do that in a second follow-up video, or I will leave you a link. I am committed to bringing you the Maui fire coverage, and I have done so for the last 10 days. And I think basically none of those videos, maybe one of them had a sponsor message. And I did that on purpose because I decided I wanted to get right into the heart of the matter and not have any time devoted to the sponsors. And I also want to put on the record that I do not get a penny from YouTube. I am not monetized. That means any ad that you see that's running before my video, during my video, after my video, I don't get a penny from that. YouTube has not monetized my videos for me. I cannot get any money from any ads running on YouTube. I'm grateful for my sponsors who see value in me and in you and in my messages. And so they want me to bring their messages to you in hopes that it will be of value as well. And that is what I do on a sporadic basis in order to pay for my internet, pay for the newsletter. I have an assistant who basically, people that help me are basically volunteers. So I am just trying to get this information out to you in the fastest way possible. Because I'm not talking about what's going on Maui, I am going to bring you a message from the sponsor. And we actually are going, and we're going to be talking about that hurricane, and we're going to be talking about preparing for it. So there are some people that actually, like myself, might have a few extra reserves on hand in terms of I carry them around with me in added poundage. And if you are interested in dropping any of those pounds, that's what this message is going to be about. All right. Wanted to give you a little bit of background. We have a lot of new subscribers here who may not realize that I've been on YouTube for, oh my gosh, 3+ years, bringing all of the information about the hogwash and the cooties and how to live in liberty and fight against tyranny. And here we are. I'm going to bring that message. So let me share my screen, and we are going on over to trim with Peggy.com. There is a report that says 73.6% of adults are overweight. And out of those, 40% are obese. And if you are interested in not falling into one of those categories, I highly recommend that you include this amazing supplement. You can get it at trimwithpeggy.com. Just include it in your daily routine. It contains naturally sourced ingredients to support weight loss. Its main ingredient is called conjugated linoleic acid. You may have heard of it. Also, abbreviated as CLA. This has been shown to reduce fat storage while speeding up fat breakdown. The CLA in it essentially hinders the body's ability to store fat in favor of supporting the body's ability to burn fat. You can try it today. I would love for you to go to trimwithpeggy.com. You can get up to 51% off depending on what you order. And you also will get several additional free bonuses. I will have a link for you in the description box below. That is trimwithpeggy.com. All right, let's dive in. I want to talk about these hurricane warnings that I've been getting on my phone. I do have a weather app and I do use that. And my weather app has been telling me over the last couple of days that first there was a hurricane watch, and then that went to a hurricane warning. Now, I'm one of those people that actually watches the weather. I've been broadcasting about the weather. I'm looking on my phone right now to see if I can find that very strange here we are, very strange clouds in San Diego. This is going to be on my phone. Oops, let me see if I can get that. All right. I don't know if you can see this. You're not going to be able to see this because of my screen. So I will try to link that up. And if you are on my newsletter or Substack, this is a way that you can also find it. It's very, very weird. There are some. This is on like a TikTok video. There's like a whole band of clouds that we're seeing. That is not normal. Have you ever seen clouds go in a straight line like that? Exactly like they're symmetrical. I find that very, very, very bizarre. So that is in, let's see if I can get it a little bit larger for you. That is in San Diego. Oh, that's the person doing the broadcast. Okay. That's in San Diego. All right. I obviously have a virtual background. If you're curious as to why I have a virtual background, watch my video that is called Your Questions, My Answers. All right. Basically, I'm not always in an area where I can broadcast with a nice background behind me, and also allows for a little privacy. So here's what's going on in California. There is a hurricane called Hurricane Hilary. Now, I wrote about this in my newsletter. So what I actually want to do is bring you right on over to my newsletter and hope that you will subscribe to my newsletter. So let me share my screen. And I have a couple of comments here. And what you can do is go to thehealthyamerican.org, click on newsletter. You can sign up for the newsletter. It's absolutely free. I do send out a lot of newsletters. You'll hear from me at least 3 times a week. And basically it links to my videos with a short commentary so that you can see what I am up to. And then you can, if you don't want to subscribe, just click here on the website and you can see all of my previous newsletters. So this was today's, a hurricane in California. And I'm spelling it that way just to, well, to be a little snarky. And the reason why is because they are manipulating our weather, as you know, and I'm just trying to diffuse some of the power that these public servants are trying to exert over us. So here you can see I'm still doing my deep dive on Maui. Some of you asked where you can support me. That's all in the newsletter, also in the description box below. I'm so grateful. All of my brand new Substack subscribers as well. I appreciate that. All content is free to all readers. A hurricane in California. I was recently criticizing the practice of naming hurricanes after people. Who wants to be known for a disaster? Couldn't the National Weather Service keep track of yearly hurricanes with an easy system such as 2023A, 2023B, 2023C, etc.? But I have to admit, with this storm called Hilary, I might have to rethink my position. All right, this is it. And you'll notice that it is going right up. This is called Baja California. So here's a picture that I grabbed yesterday. And then you can... I can show a news coverage if you want to right now. It is changing by the minute, but they have downgraded it to arriving as a tropical storm in Southern California. It still likely is going to result in a lot of weather and a lot of rain and potentially a lot of flooding. And let me just come off the screen share for a moment. And unfortunately, the powers that, the powers that shouldn't be, and those in the New World Disorder and all the WEFers that are pushing this burn back better and build back better and flood back better system, they are going to be applauding regardless of the cause of this disaster. It will be a disaster and they will use it to their benefit. Now, I've lived my life in California, and I will tell you that a hurricane has never made landfall. The ocean water just doesn't get warm enough to sustain that energy. So it's very troubling to get these hurricane warnings on my phone. And I also believe that this is a part of the terrorism perpetrated upon the people to make them feel afraid. My husband was very just kind of sanguine about it. And he said, sweetheart, they've had storms. We've been in storms. They are building this up to make people be afraid and cause that pandemonium, right? Pandemonium. Remember what we had earlier? The plandemonium. Yes, the hogwash, as I call it. So I don't know if people are rushing out to get toilet paper, but I do want to help you be prepared. I'm going to do a second video, and we're going to dive into exactly what you can do to be prepared for a hurricane, for a flood, for a fire, for an earthquake, for a tornado. I've never been in a tornado, but basically how to be prepared for either a natural or unnatural disaster. I'm all about solutions and being empowered. But I do want to tell you that I got an email from my local assemblywoman with helpful tips on how to prepare for this hurricane. And even though it's been downgraded to a tropical storm, once it arrives in Southern California, it could still do a lot of damage. Again, I predict that whatever happens, the governor and all of his minions are going to be applauding. They're going to be using it to their advantage, maybe even instituting another emergency where they can suspend the laws and do what they want to push their tyranny, totalitarianism, and everything else that they've been doing over the last few years. So I'm using this time to review my own prepping reserves and my emergency plans. And I want to inspire you to do the same. I want to read to you this letter that came up from my, here we go, my assemblywoman. She said, you may have heard that Hurricane Hilary formed off the coast of Mexico yesterday and is forecast to hit Southern California as a tropical storm over the weekend and into early next week, bringing widespread showers and thunderstorms and possibly stronger winds in the deserts and valleys. Let me know where you are tuning in from. I know there's tons of healthy Americans in Southern California, and this is all the way up. I mean, I saw some of these weather alerts as far as Ventura County, and they're going very far east as well. And remember, I don't know if you saw this or not, but in the Mojave Desert, that was the largest wildfire in California. And that just happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So they burn out the areas so that when it rains, there will be no vegetation to hold down the soil and the earth. And that is even a more devastating result if there are floods. So I will take you over to the National Hurricane Center. Actually, I'm going to take you over to the, let's do that. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. I'll see what they have coming up, and I will share my screen if there's, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look here, shall we? So this is the National Hurricane Center. Let's see what they've prepared for us, shall we? All right, key messages, and this is very recent. All right, this is 3 p.m. Mountain Time, Saturday today, August 19th. Preparations for flooding impact should be completed as soon as possible, as heavy rainfall will begin well in advance of the center. Here's the center way down here near Baja, and before we finish off the video, I want to show you something very, very interesting and coincidental, some might say, related to this storm. It could potentially, in the southwestern U.S., and this is including Arizona, Nevada, amazing, this potentially historic amount of rainfall is expected to cause flash urban arroyo flooding, including landslides, mudslides, and debris flows. Dangerous to locally catastrophic flooding impacts are expected late tonight through early Monday. And friends, I am not being snarky about the impact that this weather event is going to have. Not at all. That's why I want you to take it seriously. And in my follow-up video, we're going to talk about how to prepare. So hurricane conditions are expected along the west central coast of Baja California Peninsula, with the hurricane warning area tonight and Sunday morning, and are possible in the hurricane watch area. So the warning means it's imminent. You need to be prepared. A watch means be on guard. So those are two different levels of alerts. Tropical storm conditions are expected to begin tomorrow in the southwestern U.S. within the tropical storm warning area. Again, that is a severe level of alarm and alert. Winds could be particularly strong and gusty in and near areas of higher terrain. Gusty winds are expected to spread well inland across the western U.S. Large swells generated by Hilary will affect portions of the Baja California Peninsula and Southern California over the next couple of days. These swells are likely to cause life-threatening surf and rip current conditions. All right, that is what is going on currently. Before we go any further, let me just show you these very strange coincidences that I saw about. I think everybody showed me, I think all of you showed me this image of the Mountain Dew Maui burst, right? DEW. We know what that's all about. So that came out a couple of years ago, I think in 2020. And people were saying, oh my gosh, Mountain Dew, Maui burst. Look at those images of the tikis. Does that look threatening or anything? So I thought that was very interesting. I suppose you could connect the clots to say that this was predictive programming. I haven't drawn my conclusions about that. I will say that it is very curious. It's very interesting, but wait until I show you this. This might make me change my opinion here. So here we go. Not only is there a Mountain Dew Maui burst, but hold on to your hat. There's a Mountain Dew Baja blast. Are you following me, friends? What's next? I think you need to keep your eye on the Mountain Dew, what they're producing, so that we can plan where not to be next time. So apparently this hurricane is going right over Baja California. I've been to Baja California. Most Southern Californians have. It's a very easy and accessible, or at least it was in the earlier days, place to go for vacations. A lot of people travel there. So my prayers are with all of those that are going to be affected by this. So I thought that was very, very interesting. Now, I did have a Healthy American. In fact, you know him. This is my forensic arborist, Robert, and he has been on the show a couple of times, and his videos are getting tens of thousands of views because he is able to look at the burn patterns of the trees and to tell us whether or not this is natural. And guess what? It's not natural. You also don't have melted steel next to, which is not flammable. Steel it does not ignite. It can only melt. Trees, on the other hand, are flammable. It's called fuel. And in order to have a fire, you have to have fuel, you have to have an ignition source, and you need to have oxygen. And that's what's required for a fire. So he has been discussing and analyzing these anomalies. And he said to me, Peggy, I want you to alert your audience. Anybody in Southern California, get out your cell phones and make sure that you are taking pictures to see if you are seeing any strange flashes of light that they might try to hide in the lightning, if there's going to be lightning and thunder, which likely there will be in a tropical storm scenario, to see if they are going to use the cover of this storm in order to inflict further damage. So those of you that are capable of doing that, be sure that you email me support@thehealthyamerican.org. I want you to keep those images coming, like those strange the images of those very strange clouds in San Diego. So speaking of San Diego, let me get back and finish off this warning from the Assemblywoman that said moderate to heavy precipitation. This is the email I got from her yesterday, is expected across portions of Southern California with flooding possible. How about this? I've never gotten a warning like this before. Prepare for flooding by moving your valuables to upper floors and avoid low-lying areas that might flood. All right, I find that that is alarming. And for those of you that are in flood prone areas, you probably are used to that, to not have your things in the low lying area. This is very important. Do not attempt to cross swift moving water that is above your knees. If your vehicle stalls in the flood water, abandon it immediately. 2 feet of water is enough to carry away most automobiles. The most important thing to remember is to be prepared. All right. She says, everyone should have emergency supplies on hand if a disaster strikes. Your emergency supplies should be sufficient to sustain you, your family, and your pets for a minimum of 72 hours. That is 3 days. And I'm going to share that with you, the list, in the very next video. So also review your own list, make sure that it is suitable for you. If you wear glasses, like for example, I have kind of dry eye from my previous eye surgeries many years ago. And so I like a special brand of eye drops. I'm going to make sure that I have that brand of eye drops. If I didn't, I would be, and if everything's closed down for 3 days, it would be very difficult. And you want to have your emergency kits. You want to have one at home that is full of everything you need. You want a smaller one that you can leave in your car, or if you, and this is just general prep, you would want to leave it at work if you spend time at work or wherever else you spend time. I know people that have left an emergency kit at the gym. If you have a loved one that lives in a different city, you may want to have, I've got an emergency kit with a family member in another city so that I know I can always go there and I will have clothes and, my own personal things that I need. So these would be your evacuation kit, that you're going to have your money, your documents, clothing. Do you know that these shelters, for example, on Maui, they did not provide at that time, they did not provide anything. There were no toothbrushes, there were no pillows, there were no cots, nothing. So make sure that you've got a backpack that's ready to go. And we'll talk about that in the next video. And I want to hear from you what you keep in your emergency kit. The last thing I wanted to tell you on this video before we do our second one, all about preparing, she wrote, as of now, the electricity company is not planning any public safety power shutoffs in preparation of the high winds that could bring down power lines, but it is prepared to alert residents should the need arise. They remind us not to approach any down power lines or broken gas lines, report them immediately to the police or fire department. If you are evacuating, this is very important, disconnect all of your electrical appliances, turn off electricity at the panel, turn off your gas if you have natural gas at the meter, and turn off your water at the main valve. I think this is very important information. And then finally, dial 911 only if you have a life-threatening emergency. Avoid making unnecessary trips. If you must go, dress in warm, loose layers with sturdy shoes. All right. Southern California, I live in sandals, but I do have a good pair of sneakers, tennis shoes, and I've got warm socks, and I've even got a hoodie. I've got a beanie. I've got gloves, because you never know if you're going to have to pick something up or move something to get out of the way. So those are some things that are in my backpack, along with my flashlight. I've got hand warmers. I've got batteries. I've got a solar cell phone charger. I've got a pen. I've got an indelible ink pen to make a note. I've got tape if I need to tape it to a door or something. So you want to make sure that you do have a plan and that people know where you might go and where you could meet up with them. So she finishes off her message by saying, this could be the first tropical storm to sweep through San Diego County since 1939. But if we are prepared, we will weather this storm. Okay, I don't know if she chose that word on purpose. We will emerge stronger. My office is closely monitoring the storm's progress and stands by to help in any way we can. So I thought that was great because we got this in advance. Unlike, I know there are things you cannot get an advance warning for an earthquake. Obviously, they didn't get an advance warning for the fires, and those can break out very quickly. So the more that you can be prepared, the more you'll have peace of mind and you'll feel empowered rather than overwhelmed. So let's do this, friends. I want to go back. Let me see where we are here. All right. I want to, I'm going to wrap up here, and then we are going to do a second video where I'm going to share with you some really great lists for prepping, because I'm all about taking the time to prepare and being empowered. So I hope that this is going to be something that will be useful for you. I don't want to put you in the spin cycle. I want you to actually have some solutions and strategies going forward. All right, I'll take a look at your comments. Give me about 5 minutes to queue up the next video. And I also was on OAN yesterday. And so I will have a link for you over at my, I'm not sure if it's linked yet. Let me share with you my Instagram channel. So I hope that you will sign up here. And I've got some little memes that I show. And here it is, the Healthy American Peggy Hall. Make sure you don't go for one of the people that are the imposters that are trying to, misdirect people. It's the Healthy American Peggy Hall, completely spelled out, one word, no hyphens, nothing, just that. And you'll see the information that I'm bringing to you here. So I will also put something up here about the HURRY-KANE, and I hope it hurries and dissipates and that everybody will get through this without any destruction. The other thing I wanted to share with you, some of you were asking about here we go. This is preparewithpeggy.com. Sorry, friends. I think I do need a break this weekend. I've been doing nonstop coverage. I do need to update this photo. It's from about 5 years ago. I'm not sure why it's still there, but I think you can tell that is still me. And here we go. You can get 25% off a 3-month emergency food supply. Now, everybody in my family, in my family has one of these buckets. I also want to thank the Healthy American that told me about this spray for your voice, because I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit from the hours and hours of live streams that I'm doing. That will go into my emergency kit. So I've got one of these buckets. Each one of us has a bucket, and it is waterproof. You can grab and go. And I would leave one at home. I would have one in your car, and I would have one in another location, either your office, a friend's house, wherever you would have it, where it could be safe, maybe at a church or something, if you're a member of a church. And this way you've got a 25-year shelf life worth of food. And this is going to keep you alive if everything else shuts down. Now, I typically don't eat, mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese and that kind of thing, but all of this can be prepared easily. It ships with free shipping. You've got breakfast, lunch, dinners, and drinks. You've got, again, 2,000 calories per day, and you can save on their different options and packages that they have here. So preparewithpeggy.com. Some of you were asking me about that. And if you don't do that, friends, for heaven's sakes, just go to the grocery store, buy your canned goods, get your beef jerky, have your, whatever you want to be able to make. We have an outdoor barbecue, just a small one that's on like a little tabletop with a small propane tank. So I would move that inside out of the, winds, so those things don't become projectiles like the solar panels or something that might fly off people's roofs. But after the storm ends, and if the power is out, I can still cook on this outdoor barbecue stove. So those are the kinds of things that I like to think about. You might just want to have some cans of tuna or tuna in little pouches. I'm happy to just open a can of garbanzo beans and mix those with a can of green beans and a can of diced tomatoes. That sounds really good. And I would be satisfied with that for a few days. So you can always prepare on your own. So I just wanted to encourage you about this. My prayers are with everyone. I wouldn't put it past the WFers and the New World Disorder to try to capitalize and take advantage of this weather pattern, whether or not it is natural or augmented or created. So I'll dig into that in another video. Today, I just wanted to tell you about being prepared and what I'm doing as well. All right, let me wrap up here. Let me do a second video. I'll be right back on with you all. Thank you for joining me on this day and hour that I'm normally not here. I am here Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, that's 7 p.m. Eastern. And lately I've been doing, oh my gosh, at least 2 live streams back to back because there's so much to cover. I will continue to expose the evildoers on the scene in Maui. I'm going to be showing you about these emergency orders that the governor declared before the fires even broke out. I'm going to be showing you about the water rights and how that has been at issue. And it is going to knock your socks off when you find out that that was just about to go through in favor of the Hawaiians on August 7th, and the following day, August 8th. And the governor suspended everything. And all of that now is in limbo. So a lot of things don't add up, but they do add up for you and me because we know how to connect the clots. All right, friends, hopping off, hopping right back on. And I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you being on board. A special welcome to all the new subscribers for joining our Healthy American community here. This is where you can get support. You can get a little snark in the reporting, and we really appreciate you being